Okay, interesting and little known fact about the PS2, it can actually run in HD resolutions, including 720p and 1080i. You do need some specific software in order to do it. I've had to cheat a little bit so the video capture box can actually pick up what I'm doing as well. Technically the PS2 is already running in 1080i, but for the purposes of this video I'm just going to pretend like it's not and just run through a few steps. Now if you notice the system menu, there's two options that aren't usually there, including one called Options and one called Games. That's because it's running something called FreeMC Boot or FreeMcBoot, depending on how you want to pronounce it, which basically exploits it using a little memory card hack from the moment that it's switched on. You'll also need a couple of additional pieces of software. I'm just going to show you what those are. Options is going to load something called ULaunch ELF, which has some other options that you can then boot in, loaders and game backup systems and FTP server and that sort of thing. But we're just going to focus on the mode selector. So here we go. Okay, now this is the home screen for ULaunch ELF, or Launch ELF 4.42a as it says in the top right corner there. I've already customised this for certain menu options, as you can see here. So that's the PS2 loader that loads games off the hard drive. Network adapter, that's just for the FTP and stuff if you want to copy stuff across from here to stuff on your LAN, for example. File browser, it's just the standard, literally one of these, so you can go between the memory cards and the hard drive and all that sort of thing. But the one we're really interested in, and the one we want to go back to, is this one called GS Mode Selector here. It's the one that allows us to do HD resolution, so we're going to boot this one up. Right, now I've already preset mine that when the program's loaded it already knocks it straight up into 1080i. As you can see from the active settings, it tells you, if you look at the one in red at the top, well, orange technically, where it says DW equals 1919, DH equals 1079, that's basically already in 1080i. Now I'm actually using an older version of the program that allows you for presets, which is 0.23x. There is a newer version, 0.38, but you have to set the option each time. It's not as convenient. Whereas if you set FreeMcBoot, ULaunch ELF and this up correctly, you can literally just hold the start button down when the console runs and it'll boot, do the mode promotion and then go straight into your loader. In this case I'm going to manually do it, so I'm going to press start and down. Here we go. Now it runs the hard drive, so you can't hear it on the video, but the PS2 is now loading the hard drive. It's got the network adapter hooked up in the back of it. I'm using a Phat model PS2 version 11. It's one of the best, well basically it's the last one before they made the slim model. It runs the quietest and generally has the best compatibility. Slim, obviously it's hard to fit a hard drive to. I think only the V12 and the V13 slims, the first couple they made, are actually capable of it, and the Phat ones are very easy to find, so that'd be my recommendation. Right, so our test game is going to be God of War. Right, so we're going to load this one up now. Here we go. Also worth mentioning, I'm using virtual memory cards. So my original games from like 6 years ago, I've actually backed up. Worth mentioning, this is actually an old project. I did this modification quite a long time ago now, but since I've got a box that can now convert a component into HDMI and run it through my TV, I thought it was worth resurrecting it. There you go. So I'm not going to load any of those because they're on ridiculously hard difficulty and I'll die instantly. What's also worth noticing is the game is, even though it's in 1080i, it's still actually letterboxing the picture into more of a 4:3 format, and also some of the videos are glitchy. If you listen closely to the audio from Linda Hunt's narration here, it's clearly glitchy and it goes back into widescreen for some reason. Here we go.
Now there is no hope.
Skip some of the speech, basically.
And Kratos cast him the highest mountain in all of Greece. Years of suffering, 10 years of endmares. It would finally come.
I quite like the endmares one.
Be his from madness.
Very angsty guy, Kratos. Or Kratos.
But it had not always been. Kratos had once been a champion.
Or toes in this case, just his toes. Yeah. But the actual game runs fine.
I will send you back to the depths of Hades.
What's worth noticing, give you the PS2 isn't actually running true 1080. I mean, it does mode promote up to that, but it's using some cheating. It's technically tripling the horizontal resolution, so there's kind of a weird blocky effect. You can see it if you look closely at the wood shards on the boat deck there. But generally, it's the best way you're going to ever get anything close to HD from the PS2. which is quite useful for running through a modern TV, I should say. There we go. PS2 running in 1080i.